The Mediterranean has always been a stage for great power struggles, a crossroads linking Europe, Asia, and Africa. Its waters once again burn with global attention as tensions flare in the Gulf and Israel faces mounting conflict. In response, the United States has deployed something extraordinary. Not just another carrier, but a multi-billion-dollar masterpiece, the most advanced warship on Earth, the world's only vessel of its kind. This cutting-edge aircraft carrier isn't just steel and engines, it's the crown jewel of American engineering, a symbol of unmatched power and resolve. Its arrival sent shockwaves across the globe, leaving no doubt that America is ready to defend its allies, secure its interests, and project strength anywhere it's needed. But here's the question: what makes this secretive supercarrier so different from every other warship in the world's arsenal? How has the arrival of this game-changing aircraft carrier shifted the balance in the Gulf? Join Tech of War to explore the U.S. Navy's most closely guarded secret weapon, the USS Gerald R. Ford, a warship that has amazed the world. Escorted by cruisers and destroyers, the Ford Strike Group has been deployed to the eastern Mediterranean under orders from Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, prepared for any scenario. From intelligence gathering to potential interception of weapons shipments, this move proves America's unmatched readiness. This deployment is not just military, it is psychological. When a U.S. carrier group sails into contested waters, it forces every rival power to recalculate its next move. Russia, Iran, and even China, watching closely, understand that the presence of the Gerald R. Ford is more than symbolic. It is a floating city of war, a platform of deterrence, and a direct reminder that America can strike anywhere, anytime. The crisis has already taken a human toll. 27 American citizens have been confirmed killed in the Israel-Hamas war, with others still missing. The U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem is working around the clock to safeguard American nationals, while Secretary of State Antony Blinken pushes forward diplomatic channels urging de-escalation. But in the meantime, the forward deployment of the Gerald R. Ford sends a powerful message. The U.S. will not sit idle as instability spreads. This is strategy in action, strength on display, to cool the flames of conflict. Military strategists often describe carriers as 100,000 tons of diplomacy. They don't just fight wars, they prevent them. By placing the Gerald R. Ford in the eastern Mediterranean, the United States is essentially stationing a moving fortress at the world's geopolitical flashpoint. That single move can reassure allies, intimidate adversaries, and stabilize entire regions without firing a shot. The Ford's own journey is equally dramatic. It began with a $2.7 billion contract in 2005, followed by a $5.1 billion expansion deal with Northrop Grumman in 2008. Construction unfolded at Huntington Ingalls Shipbuilding in Newport News, Virginia, marked by a symbolic keel laying on the 14th of November 2009. That ceremony was led by Susan Ford Bales, daughter of President Gerald R. Ford, forever tying the vessel's legacy to her father's name. Even the ship's emblem carries that spirit, designed through a collaboration between its sponsor and the carrier's first commanding officer, Captain John F. Meyer. Unlike carriers of the past, which followed a more conventional path of design and construction, the Ford was envisioned as a leap into the future. Every bolt, every circuit, every steel plate was meant to carry the Navy into the 21st century and beyond. That vision came with risks, but also with breakthroughs that would forever change naval warfare. Progress on the USS Gerald R. Ford moved at a blistering pace in the early years. By August 2011, the ship was already halfway complete. By April 2012, construction reached 75%, and just months later in November, it was closing in at 87%. On the 26th of January 2013, a milestone was reached when the island, the towering command center of the flight deck, was installed. The final superlift followed on May 7, sealing the last major structural piece in place. Just weeks later, on the 11th of July 2013, workers marked the occasion by placing a time capsule within the ship's structure, a tribute to its historic build. But perfection comes with setbacks. Launch dates were pushed back from October to November 2013. By then, costs had already ballooned to $12.8 billion. More delays followed. In September 2015, testing snags forced delivery to slip to mid-2016, with construction then at 93%. Four critical flight systems still face serious issues, pushing combat readiness further down the line. To outsiders, these delays looked like weakness. But for those inside the program, every postponed deadline was an investment in precision. The Navy wasn't just building another carrier, it was rewriting the playbook. Complex systems like electromagnetic launch catapults and advanced arresting gear had never been tested on such a scale. Each problem solved meant the Ford would emerge not as a flawed prototype, but as a perfected machine of war. By March 2018, the price tag had climbed to $13.27 billion, officially making the Ford the most expensive warship ever created. Delivery to the Navy slipped another 3 months, eventually scheduled for October 2019. The carrier pressed forward with rigorous trials. Initial operational testing wrapped up in April 2017, followed by Builder's Sea trials from April 8-14 and acceptance trials in late May that same year. Though shock trials were postponed, the Ford made history again on the 18th of June 2021, when it endured its first full-scale shock test off the Florida coast. More tests in July and August confirmed its resilience. At its heart, this Leviathan is nuclear-powered, driven by 2 reactors each weighing more than 1,000 tons, providing unmatched endurance and power projection. At the heart of the USS Gerald R. Ford lies its unmatched source of power, 2 massive Bechtel A-1B nuclear reactors. These reactors give the ship endurance like no other, capable of producing a mind-blowing 700 megawatts of energy. That translates to more than 915,000 horsepower. And when channeled through its enormous twin electric motors, the figure approaches an astonishing 2 million horsepower. This kind of raw energy isn't just about moving a ship forward. It's about powering entire generations of new weapons, railguns, high-energy lasers, and electromagnetic systems that no other carrier in the world can sustain. The Ford is essentially a floating power plant, designed not only for today's threats, but for tomorrow's technologies. To put it into perspective, each of those motors is the size of 4 pickup trucks stacked together. The raw power is jaw-dropping, but with such immense size comes limitation. This carrier won't dart across the ocean like a speedboat. Instead, it dominates the seas with overwhelming presence. Stretching 1,100 feet in length, 260 feet across the beam, and rising 245 feet tall, this 100,000-ton behemoth is the largest aircraft carrier ever built. Its massive deck supports a wide arsenal of aircraft helicopters, drones, and cutting-edge 5th-generation fighter jets, all ready for combat. Defending the skies around it is the legendary Mark 15 Phalanx close-in weapon system. This beast fires 4,500 rounds per minute at a blistering 3,600 feet per second. In action, it looks less like traditional gunfire and more like a wall of steel, precise, relentless, and nearly impossible to escape. But that's only the beginning. The Ford also wields Lockheed Martin's cutting-edge shipboard laser system. Powered by the ship's nuclear core, this laser can engage enemy aircraft or missiles up to 3 miles away. Its destructive beam can fry electronics or vaporize incoming threats before they ever reach the hull. And for enemies bold enough to press closer, the RIM 116 missile defense system stands ready. Together, these systems form a shield of steel, lasers, and firepower, ensuring that nothing gets near America's most advanced warship. Imagine being an adversary pilot, locked onto a target, only to have your system suddenly blink out, fried by a laser beam before a missile can even leave the wing. That's the terrifying reality the Ford brings to the battlefield. A defense network so advanced it borders on science fiction. The USS Gerald R. Ford is a war machine that feels like something pulled straight out of science fiction. Its advanced missile system carries 20 deadly interceptors, each capable of striking targets 6 miles away while streaking through the sky at speeds topping 2,200 miles per hour. This is not just missile defense, it is dominance in 3 dimensions. Air, surface, and undersea threats must all think twice before approaching this floating fortress. And when integrated with the Navy's satellite-guided targeting networks, the Ford becomes not just a ship, but a node in America's global shield of power projection. But firepower is only the beginning. At the heart of this floating fortress lies its massive air wing, a powerhouse of nearly 95 aircraft and helicopters. This strike group ensures the carrier is always ready for any mission, anywhere. Ahead of its Mediterranean deployment, the Pentagon reinforced this arsenal with additional squadrons of F-35 seconds, F-15 seconds, F-16 seconds, and even the legendary A-10 Warthog. Together, they create a formidable force designed to crush any opposition. Among them, the F-35 stands out. This 5th-generation fighter represents a revolution in air combat, stealthy, supersonic, and versatile. It's the first operational fighter in the world capable of short takeoff and vertical landing while maintaining stealth. Packed with cutting-edge avionics, radar-absorbing design, and advanced sensor fusion, the F-35 dominates the skies with unmatched situational awareness. Its pilot's helmet projects real-time combat data directly onto the visor, giving a 360-degree advantage and even enabling off-boresight missile launches. In certain conditions, its radar signature is no bigger than a golf ball, making it nearly invisible to enemy defenses. For adversaries, this means fighting blind. Before they even know the F-35 is there, it has already seen them, locked them, and fired. On the Gerald R. Ford's deck, these jets are not just tools, they are hunters, armed with intelligence, precision, and stealth. The F-16, though from an earlier generation, remains an icon. Its sleek aerodynamics, fly-by-wire control, and blistering agility allow it to pull 9 grams turns and push speeds past Mach 2. Equipped with an M61 Vulcan cannon and multiple hardpoints for bombs and missiles, the F-16 proves that even after decades of service, it's still a lethal and cost-effective fighter. And then, there's the A-10 Thunderbolt II, better known as the Warthog. With its fearsome GAU-8 Avenger cannon capable of unleashing nearly 4,000 rounds per minute, it provides devastating close-air support. This flying tank ensures that ground troops always have American firepower watching over them. It is this diversity of aircraft, from stealth fighters to old warhorses, that gives the Ford a unique edge. No other nation can combine bleeding-edge stealth with rugged ground attack support on the same deck. That combination makes the carrier not just versatile, but unstoppable across the full spectrum of warfare. Yet, the USS Gerald R. Ford is more than its aircraft. Its innovations include advanced arresting gear for safe landings, massive aircraft elevators capable of lifting 65 tons, and an expansive, uncluttered flight deck that makes takeoffs and recoveries faster and safer even in rough seas. Beneath the deck lies an enormous hangar, large enough to conceal stealth bombers like the B-21 Raider, ready to launch devastating strikes when needed. These features transform operations. Instead of waiting hours to launch sorties, the Ford can cycle jets in and out at unprecedented speed. This means more planes in the air, more strikes on target, and more dominance in less time. In a real war scenario, this could be the difference between victory and defeat. And it never sails alone. The carrier is the centerpiece of Carrier Strike Group 12, which includes destroyers, cruisers, and support ships like the USS Normandy, USS Ramage, USS McFall, and USS Thomas Hudner. Together, this strike group forms an impenetrable shield of firepower, surveillance, and logistics. Their mission: protect the carrier, extend its reach, and guarantee American dominance on the high seas. Each ship in the strike group is a weapon in itself. Destroyers bring the Aegis missile defense system, cruisers bring heavy firepower, and submarines lurking beneath the waves provide silent protection. It is a layered defense, like armor plates stacked one over another, ensuring the Gerald R. Ford remains untouchable. The Ford's journey has already made history. From its departure out of Norfolk in October 2022 to exercises with NATO allies in the Atlantic, port visits in Canada and the UK, and its first Mediterranean deployment in 2023, the ship has carried America's influence across oceans. Along the way, it trained with allies, drilled in the Arctic, and sailed with the Italian Navy in joint operations, all while sending a powerful message of deterrence. Every stop was calculated. A port call in Halifax reassured Canada of America's commitment. A visit to Portsmouth signaled to the UK that the special relationship remains ironclad. And every joint drill with NATO was a rehearsal for unity, demonstrating to adversaries that an attack on one would invite the wrath of all. Even the world's largest carrier faces the challenge of turbulent seas, but advanced stabilizers, ballast systems, and shock absorbers keep the platform steady for flight operations. High-tech fenders even provide added protection when docked, ensuring safety in unpredictable waters. With its unmatched technology, devastating arsenal, and powerful escort fleet, the USS Gerald R. Ford is redefining what it means to project power at sea. Its presence in the Mediterranean isn't just about deterrence, it's a declaration that the United States stands ready to defend peace, stability, and its allies against any threat. In an age where global conflict can spark in an instant, the Gerald R. Ford is more than a ship, it is a guarantee. A guarantee that when America's interests are threatened, response will be swift, overwhelming, and decisive. This is more than just a carrier, it's a symbol of American resolve, and a reminder to the world of what true naval dominance looks like.